Welcome back. It's Friday Coffee Talks. We are here. I've got a nice cup of coffee. Friday Coffee Talks, the podcast where we talk over coffee on Fridays. My wife told me I needed a tagline, so that's it. Friday Coffee Talks, where we talk over coffee on Fridays. How's that? It's a pretty good little soundbite. We were talking a lot this week about what am I doing here? Is it an interview show? Is it a sales show? And it's all of those things. I don't know. I don't want to be put in a box. It's a show where I talk to people who I find interesting, and I talk about things that I find interesting, and I try to help people along the way. And there's a lot of sales, and there's a lot of coffee, and there's a lot of interviews, and I think it's going to be all those things, and probably a lot more stuff that I don't even know yet. So we're 81 episodes in. I'm still figuring this thing out. I appreciate you joining me for the ride. I want to tell two quick stories about this week before I jump into the main topic for today. It's such funny things. It just makes me laugh. So, are you the type of person who runs your gas tank all the way down until like you're running on fumes, coasting into the gas station? Or are you somebody that like once it gets past that half tank mark, like boop, 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 you start looking for a gas station, trying to figure out what you're going to do? I'm the second one. The lowest I usually let my truck get is around quarter of a tank, maybe a little under a quarter of a tank. I'm like, all right, it's time to go to the gas station. When that range number is getting under like 50 miles or something, I'm like, yeah, it's time. It's time to fill up. I don't let my truck run down for the most part. I have, out of necessity, whatever, but for the most part, I try to keep it pretty full. My wife is the exact opposite. That range thing on her computer is probably the worst thing that could happen because she runs that sucker down. She's like, oh yeah, I got 5 miles left. And that's what happened this week. So I hopped in the car to help take the kids to school. Did not bring my wallet. As we're rolling into the school, Mandy's range on the van says 3 miles. 3 miles. And she's like, oh, we're going to have trouble getting to the gas station. So we drop off the kids at school. Me, Mandy, Savannah left in the car, and we head on to Kroger. It's the closest gas station to us. As we pull into the Kroger, 0 miles on the range. So we pull up to the pump, and she goes, do you have your wallet? I always pump gas for Mandy. She goes, do you have your wallet? And I was like, no, I just hopped in the car. She goes, I don't think I have mine either. So she goes and starts digging through her purse. No wallet. So we start digging through consoles and door panels and everything, and we scrounge up $3 in cash. So she goes and she pays, and we put $3 worth of gas in her van, and she fires it back up. And the range still says 0 miles. So we're like panicking at this point. We're like, do we go back to the house and then try to make it back to the gas station? Or do we try to go to another gas station that has tap to pay? Because I have my phone. Kroger doesn't accept tap to pay. So that was what we decided to do. We drove 5 miles down the road to Racetrack with 0 on the range the entire way. And bless you, Racetrack. Thank you for accepting tap to pay, because we pulled up there and bought my phone on the thing and got a nice full tank of gas for Mandy so she could head to work. And I saw a fight in the parking lot, so that was fun too. So that was a funny story. It's just totally backwards. I was just giggling the whole time about Mandy, like literally running on fumes into the gas station. Talking about stressful situations, the other story I wanted to tell is from last night. I handle stress, there's fight or flight. I am very much flight. When a stressful situation happens, my brain doesn't work correctly. I just like panic. And Parker, my oldest son, is exactly the same way. So we went to a thing last night. We had a new babysitter. It was her first time babysitting for us. And we forgot to mention our dog and how crazy and sneaky he is. He's a daggum ninja. His legs are like this long, but when he stands up, he can get stuff off the counter. And so we kind of forgot to mention some of his quirks to her. So we get a call from her as we're pulling up to the event we're going to last night. I'm trying to find parking, and we get this FaceTime call, and it's pure chaos. The dog had pulled the pizza box off of the counter and had eaten most of a pizza. So Brinkley, you're lucky, dog. You got a whole pizza, butthead. So Fallon went and tried to get the pizza away, and the babysitter tried to help. And he gets real aggressive and territorial when he's got stuff he's not supposed to have. And so we're trying to yell over FaceTime, like, no, leave him alone. Just let him have it. It's fine. And meanwhile, you hear Parker in the background running around going, it's a crisis. Call 911. It's a crisis. And we're trying to yell back over the phone, like, no, don't call the police. Just let the dog have the pizza. And yeah, so as soon as we hung up, Mandy looked over at me and she's like, he is your son. And it's exactly right. He is absolutely my son. So that's how I handle stress for the most part. I just do things without really thinking about them. And yeah, it doesn't tend to work out very well for the most part for me. But talking about the event last night, we went to Athens, Georgia. Some of my best friends in the entire world, who I'm just immensely proud of. They had a grand opening last night for their new event venue and the home of their ministry in Athens. So shout out to 1051 Baxter and the 501 Exchange. We got to go to their grand opening event last night, and it was spectacular. I mean, when your best friends get to do things and you get to watch them experience things that they've been working for so long and they're so proud of, and they've put so much of their selves and their heart and their soul into it. It's just such a fun thing to watch those types of things play out. And so, all through the night last night, as we're at this event, we're having a lovely dinner, we're listening to music and all this kind of stuff. I spent a lot of time reflecting and thinking, and a lot of it kind of came back to my work situation and sales in general. And now let me just say this. I am the most competitive person out there. Very, very, very competitive. It lends well to sales. I think it's one of those things I feel like you kind of have to have. But I also am a little bummed out. It's a little bit of a bummer that the stereotype, the notion, the belief, I don't know who has propagated it. If it's social media, if it's movies and TV, if it's sales trainers, Grant Cardone is out here saying stuff. I don't watch a whole lot of those, so I don't really know. But the notion that sales has to be this cutthroat business where you take everybody out around you, and I'm going to win, or I'm going to take everybody out trying, or, whatever the case may be. I'm out there, I'm doing this job, I'm talking to folks, trying to make things happen. And like I said, I'm competitive as they come. But it also doesn't have to be a zero-sum game, I don't believe. You can win in sales and you can be successful in sales without tearing the people down around you. I feel like there's all these, I follow a few different like sales accounts on Instagram, and it's all about, I see these posts all the time about, fighting to be the top rep in the company and dominating your quota while everybody else is at 30%. And, all these types of things. I guess it's like this bro-y culture of sales, but I don't think it has to be that way. I'm all for striving to be great. Absolutely. Like, do that. Please continue. Do your best. But it doesn't have to come at the expense of the people around you, especially your teammates. Like, those should be the people that you want to help the most. You absolutely, let me be emphatic about this. You can be a successful seller and bring up the people around you with you. That's the way it should be done, I think. Maybe that's just me, but the saying is a rising tide raises all ships. If you're doing better, so should the people around you. You should be working to make everyone around you successful. And in fact, I think that extends to your competition a bit too. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are projects, there's specific things that I'm working on that I absolutely want to win and make sure that my competition doesn't. But that doesn't mean that I want my competition to necessarily go out of business. Like, I know where my product fits. I know where their product fits. And those two things aren't necessarily a circle. It's a Venn diagram. There's some overlap for sure in the middle where there are things that we do well and that they do well. And I'm not talking about any one in particular. We have a lot of competition. But that Venn diagram is not a circle. It's a part. There are plenty of places where we can win and they can win and everybody can win. And I think that's a mentality that people are missing somewhat. This cutthroat, like, I'm going to do what it takes to win at the expense of everybody around me. That's no way to do business. Nobody wants to work with somebody like that. Somebody that when the phone rings and you go, oh, it's this guy. Like, I don't want to talk to them. I've worked with plenty of people like that. And it doesn't foster positivity. It doesn't foster success. You may win that one deal or that one project. Yeah, sure. Great. Congratulations. But the next time something comes around, you're not going to be the one that people call when they want to work with someone. Not a chance. And you're just making things harder on yourself down the line. So why has sales become so cutthroat and competitive? Some competition is great. Some, specific types of competition are necessary, I would even say. But the underhanded, dirty, I'm going to win and I'm going to tear down everybody else while I do it, that's got to stop, guys. Let's not do that. So be proud of your friends. Be their number one cheerleader. Be in the corner of the people that are around you. Be for them, not against them. Because especially when it's your own company, when it's your own, and let me also be clear. I'm not saying anything about my coworkers. This is not in reference to anything in particular. I have a wonderful set of coworkers that I work with. I'm just talking about the stigma, the kind of general notion, all that kind of stuff that sales has. It's just kind of icky. So you guys enjoy your coffee, make the people around you better. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you next week.